All right, so let's talk about how to develop a bulletproof mindset. I started talking about this. I started learning a lot about having a tough mindset, a bulletproof mindset in martial arts, right? And I started martial arts at the age of 11. I used to be bullied a little bit before karate. And I joined karate, and luckily I joined a very good gym that I learned some real martial arts. I was able to defend myself. And long story short, I ended up beating up my bullies, two of them. But that's not what this is about. But what martial arts taught me discipline, taught me a lot of things. But one of the things that it taught me was that nothing worthwhile was going to happen without sacrifice, without consistency, without discipline, right? And it taught me to see adversity different than other people. And now that I'm 40 years old, I look at my life and I look at people that I've met throughout my life, right? And, friends of mine that grew up without a lot of adversity, that never really put themselves in tough situations, and the philosophies that they have towards life and how that's affected them, how my philosophies have affected me, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. And I think there's a very, very big difference between how people that are successful in certain fields operate and think, and the philosophies that they have, versus people that are unsuccessful. So we're going to get into that here, and we're going to do it in a way where it relates to this. So I always start off with this: what do you follow you? What do you work with you? What do you buy from you? Very simple, right? Well, we first have to become that person. I remember there was a time where my answer to this was no. I wouldn't really follow me. I'm not disciplined. I'm not serious about the business. I've been involved in direct sales since I was 18 years old. So I've been involved in sales and recruiting for most of my adult life, all of my adult life, really. So would I follow you? Then I would ask myself the question, wow, not really. Till I was about 27 or 28, approximately, maybe 26, is when the answer to that question would be yes. And there's something that happens mentally when you believe that you are worthy of being followed, when you believe that you're worthy of doing business with, whether that is on the recruiting side or whether that is on the selling side. And for just about everybody, this happens unconsciously, right? If you think about it, you could answer the question, right? But unconsciously, people have a certain belief about themselves. They have an identity about themselves. What do you work with you, and what do you buy from you, right? Are you that guy or girl that's going to go out there and solve problems? Oh, the installer gets changed. Are you going to solve problems? How do you act when you contact the homeowner? How do you act before you contact the homeowner? How many of us have had that example where your homeowner's has a certain installer, something happened, they changed the project manager, they changed the installer, all of a sudden you got to go get permits again. I'm just giving you an example of one of the problems that we experience in this business. It isn't just about how you show up to your customer. It's about how you show up to yourself, because you're developing the identity. Like, am I bigger than my problems, or are my problems bigger than me? That is a leader that you are. What if you're a mentor, you're mentoring somebody else, you're the captain of the ship as a whole, and you're freaking out. You're making it a big deal. What do you think people that are following you are thinking? So it is very important. See, we're talking about a training today that you'll get a lot of value from, but I encourage everybody to do personal development daily. I recommend 30 minutes of a good audio or podcast about a subject that you want to learn, or 10 pages of a good book daily. Usually, most days in the morning, I start off by reading something. I try not to look at my phone for the first hour. I don't look at my emails. I don't look at my texts, none of that stuff. I wake up and I start reading. Drink 8 ounces of water, start reading, right? Brush my teeth. Then I get into my coffee, which, matter of fact, I got it right here, right? So notice it's a little bit later in the day, right? I woke up. I usually wake up around 6:30, 6:30. That's usually what time I wake up. There's certainly a lot of merit to waking up earlier, and I think in 2024 I am going to start waking up like at 5 in the morning. I know Zachary Bach has a call at 5 a.m. every morning, if I'm not mistaken. So, and look at the difference, because success leaves clues. Look at the difference, the way certain leaders that are top performing leaders act, how they carry themselves, what time they wake up, right? What do you follow you? Quick story here. An elderly Cherokee brave had 2 grandsons, and he told them about a battle between 2 wolves going on inside of people. There was the good wolf and the bad wolf, right? The good wolf had all of these good qualities, right? tenacious. They had kindness, perseverance, humility, understanding, motivation. The bad wolf had jealousy, laziness, hate, resentment, spite, all these other things, right? So the grandchild asked the grandson, which one will win? And the grandfather replied, whichever one you feed, right? Whichever one you feed. So at the end of the day, most people don't realize, and this is one of the keyest things that when I heard the following, I want you guys to understand how it impacted me. One of the most important things that I ever heard was this. You've got to think about what you are thinking about. Think about what you're thinking about. What do I mean by that? Most people's self-talk is negative. This is one of the things I repeat all the time. Some of you guys heard me say this 50 times. But here's the deal, though. Repetition is extremely important. They say the repetition is a mother of learning. Most of the time we hear something and it goes in through one ear, out through the other ear. But how do you talk to yourself daily? They've even done studies on plants that they play classical music to plants. In another plant, they play metal music. Or one plant, they say positive affirmations to. The other one, they say a bunch of negative things. And the one that they say negative things to dies. Even water, they freeze water with classical music, and the crystals are significantly nicer and just a lot better versus the ones with metal music. In the creator's creation, we could see this all over the place, and a lot of studies have already been done. So in the beginning, for me, think about what you're thinking about seems silly. As I started getting older, I started saying, what is my self-talk? One of the things I say often is, if your friends talk to you the way you talk to yourself, you wouldn't be friends anymore. So how is it that we're talking to ourselves? I am constantly saying, I am a champion. I am a winner. I ask my son, he does something good. I'm like, man, why are you such a champion? And he always replies with the same thing since he was very little. It's because I am, right? In a very humble way. But I heard my friend Tim Hurd, huge leader, multi-million-dollar earner in network marketing. Before I had kids, his son was playing football, and he asked, his son's now like a high school phenom. He would ask him, why are you such a champion? He'd do something good, he'd ask him, why are you such a champion? I remember thinking to myself, one day when I have kids, when I have a son or a daughter, I'm going to ask him that question. Now, fast forward, I got a 9-year-old son. This happened like in 2011. I had a 9-year-old son now, and I ask him those questions, and I see Tim's son now is an absolute stud with a bulletproof mindset. No surprise that his dad is an absolute stud with a bulletproof mindset, right? But the questions, the confidence that we instill in other people, and it starts with us, because our self-talk, what it will do is that our self-talk will go out there and go into our subconscious mind, and it'll start to develop our identity. Some people, some people, they win just because they believe that they are destined to win, that their identity is, hey, man, I'm a hard worker, I'm skilled, and I deserve to win. And I have the identity of being that hard worker that goes bell to bell. And I deserve to win because I am first name, last name, whatever their first name and last name is. Some people win because they believe that they are designed to win. Trust me, man, I've got many friends. We've had some of these conversations. One of my friends mentioned about another friend of ours. You know, Matt, that dude's like a cat. He always lands on his feet. He always crushes it. And a couple times in his life that things have gone bad with a divorce, with a business, that dude, like a year later, is back up making $1 million a year. So he's like a cat. He always lands on his feet, is what he said. My buddy Cliff about my buddy Matt. And I remember thinking, that is true. Then I would study. I'm somebody that I really observe people a lot, right? And I observe people I'm 40 years old now, so I've had a pretty good life to observe people. And I would notice people's characteristics and the way that they would talk, the way that they would walk, the way that they would carry themselves, the personal growth that they would do, their identity about themselves. And I was like, that is true. There was always something different about that person than the other person. But then I would also see people that would always tell people about how life sucks, how things are so bad. There are people literally that are motivated by negativity and by, hey, come and be a victim, come and hear my story. And you're feeding your subconscious mind that you're a victim. And guess what? Victims are the opposite of victors. Victors don't have time to feel bad for themselves. So anyway, spend a little bit more time on this side than I thought. Let's keep going. Here's a motivation pyramid. Here's the way it works. Okay. You've got 27, 30, let's start with the 3%ers. 3%ers are the motivators. 3%ers are those people that, listen, I'm going to be on training. I'm going to do my 30 minutes of personal development daily. 30 minutes of personal development. What if 30, check this out. Check this out. How many of you guys would like to be 12%? If the creator could say, look, right now, I could snap my fingers and I'll make you 12% better as a human being, as a professional. How many of you guys will see value in becoming 12% better? Okay, great. What if reading or studying 30 minutes of personal development daily, 7 days a week, made you 1% better? Sorry, not even 1% better, 0.25% better per week. That means that you'd be 1% better per month. And let me tell you something, man. If you're actually studying and you're a serious student of success, growing 0.25% weekly is a small number. So, but if it was 0.25% weekly doing that, that means that you'd be 12% better per year. 5 years from now, you're 60% better. What if your communication, your public speaking, your prospecting, your follow-up, your confidence is 12% or 60% better? Where would you be? The thing is that most people are not motivators. They're not even 10% motivated, because 10% of the population are self-motivated. Like, hey, I'm on training. You don't got to remind me. I don't need the text. I don't need the notifications on Facebook. I'm going to be on training. Yes, some of the stuff that I hear on training, I've heard before, but then I catch something that I didn't catch before because I'm a serious student of success. I got a friend of mine, David Amanite. He's had $1 million days. He's made $1 million a month for a long time. Man, just about every video of his on YouTube that you could find, I've studied. Some of the people on here know who he is. You know why? Because in my leisure time, when I'm not hanging out with my kids, guess what? I'm studying people that are more successful than me, people that are better speakers than me. And I take note, look at the way he set up that joke. Then he keeps going in his training. Then a joke that was really funny early on, he goes back and references it, and it has the same impact here, just like a comedian. A comedian hits you with a good joke. I'm talking on the public speaking side, right? Later on, he could use that joke, recycle that joke just by saying something that reminds you of that joke. And then I see some of the best public speakers have that. So I notice that because you know what? I am on purpose wanting to become the best leader that I could possibly be. So I am a motivator. I know this about me. I'm not just self-motivated. That's a given. I am a motivator of people. I am a momentum catalyst. And people will see in 2024 what I'm referring to. I'm going to blow this up. I've done it many times over. It's like riding a bike. So motivators are 3%. Self-motivated are 10%. Then 60% are people that can be motivated. These are the up and down crowd, the roller coaster crowd. Man, that Bulletproof Mindset training JC did today was on fire. I love it. I'm going to go and make things happen. But then by Wednesday, that wears out. It lasts a little bit Tuesday, wears out Wednesday. Maybe it lasts a little bit longer for some people. But they're like this. I'm motivated. Then they get a call. There's a problem with your project. Or a customer wants to cancel. Or a meeting is canceled. All of a sudden, they're down again. Because their identity is not that identity of that person that says, hey, man, for example, if a client cancels on me, or if something like that happens, you know what I know? Whatever is meant for me, whatever the creator has meant for me, meant it to happen, whatever is not for me is not going to be for me. Whatever is for me is going to be for me. But here's one thing I know, though. It's not like I don't have control. I'm going to do everything in my control to save the deal. I'm going to do everything in my control to get more deals, get more recruits. And whatever's left that is going to be for me, I know that a certain percentage out of 10, you're going to go 1, 2, or 3 that don't end up going all the way to install. I'm okay with that. That's just one of those that don't make it to install. I know some people on my team are going to quit. Guess what? That's one of those people that quit. And that's okay. I'm not emotionally attached to it because it's so many years of engraving this into my mind. I am that guy. I'm the guy. Thank the creator that I haven't felt depression in a long time because also no big things have happened in my life. Thankfully. Thank you, Father, for that, right? However, there's also depression on the small level, right? When people's businesses go down and you start to dwell. They say that the idle mind is a devil's playground. The idle mind is a devil's playground. You ever been around where you're not doing much, you're not being productive, you're not doing much, and then all of a sudden your mind starts to wander, you start thinking about a bunch of stupid things? That happens to everybody. That's why the good book says the idle mind is the devil's playground. It is so true. When you stay motivated, when you stay active, when you stay after it, you don't got time to be idle, to be thinking of stupid things. You got time to be productive. Productive, right? So 60% can be motivated. They're up and down. Your goal is to go to the 10% bracket and eventually the 3%. And then 27%ers are not motivated at all. There's no 27%ers here. A 27%er would not even consider getting on this. They'd get on this by accident. They would get on something like this by accident. So congratulations. Nobody here's a 27%er. But my question is, here's what I want on the interaction. Get ready to interact. I want you to put two numbers in the chat. First number is going to be where you are today, right now. Honestly, be supremely honest. Where are you today? Because let me tell you something. Your results will also show which one of these percentages you are, especially the longer you've been in. Number one is where you are today. Number two, I want to see that chat interaction. Number two, where are you going to be by a year from now? Where do you identify percentage-wise here right now, and where will you be a year from now today? Where are you committed to being a year from now today? That's what I want to know. Motivator. Let's go. A 10% now, 3% by in a year. I love it. 10%er now, says Michael. Good. Kim says 10%er now, 3% by next year, in a year, and wants to be on stage in September. I love it. Who else? Let's go. There's a lot more people than that. 8% now, 2 next year. 3% by next year. I love it. 3% by next year. 60% are right now, but very close to 10% and will be a 3% by next year. I love that. See, that's what I'm talking about. Everybody, right? I want you guys to take a note of this. Comparison is a thief of joy. I have a reel on Instagram that went pretty viral. A lot of people loved it. And I talk about comparison is a thief of joy. Yeah, see what other people are doing, see where you can get better, but everybody starts at a different place. For example, I came into Powur with a lot of sales experience, recruiting experience, training experience. So I beat people that were here before me, but they were trying just as hard. But what happened is maybe my network was different. Maybe they mainly focus on sales, but I focus on sales and team building. So I was able to sell more. The point is, it's okay. I remember being the guy where I was in first, I was trying, then other people came in way after me and smoked me. Don't compare yourself. Compare yourself to where you were next year. And I'm glad you guys are saying some of you guys are 60%ers, 10%ers, and you strive to be 3. Maybe some of you guys never strive to be 3%ers. That's fine. That's okay. It's not for everybody. Because guess what? At a 10%er, you could be that 6-figure earner. You could be that $250,000 a year earner, even $500,000 a year earner. I'll be honest, to get to the break the $500,000 a year mark and up, I personally see it very hard happening unless you're a 3%. My personal opinion. But you could be 100 to $500,000. You can even be more than that, right? But I'm saying, in my opinion, to really break that $500,000 mark, you got to be a 3%er, right? And some people are 3%ers. They're not there financially with this particular business yet. That doesn't mean that they're not a 3%er. It means that they're getting there. So, and here's the thing. As you start to become that 10%er, you get to attract 10%ers. As a 60%er, it's very hard to attract 10%ers, and we're in the attraction business. Customers, I got customers that signed up with me just because they start to ask me about the business. I got one guy started asking me about the business, sales guy, right? I think he was a realtor. And I start to answer his questions, right? Then he starts to ask me more questions. Then he asked me, how many deals did you close last year? I said 118 deals last year. He goes, 118 deals? I say, yeah. He's like, oh man, you're in the top 5% of the company, right? I said, well, yeah. Matter of fact, I closed more mentor deals than anybody last year and the year before that too. Because of those reasons, that dude's like, you're the kind of guy I want to do business. Sign me up. Let's go. Because he identified as himself as that guy. Now, of course, that doesn't happen with every customer. This was a unique situation. But same thing with attracting people into your business. So if you want to become a 3%er, how many people would love to have a bunch of 10%ers in their organization? Guess what you should become, right? 10%er, 3%er. So it makes it easier. And trust me, your posture is much easier. So let's talk about the 14,000 hour battle. From kindergarten to the 12th grade was 14,000 hours. And you were programmed for mediocrity, right? You were programmed to be a fault finder. Kids are to be seen, not what? Heard. Don't talk to strangers. Study hard, get good grades, so you're going to get a high paying what? Job, right? They did a study about kids up to like the age of like 5. And they found that they were like 90% were like creative geniuses. Then they studied them a couple of years later, and the same group of kids, that number went down drastically. Then they studied them a couple of years later, the number went down drastically and drastically and drastically, because let's face it, the school system that we're in right now rewards memorization, rewards staying within the lines. That's not what life is about. That's not what is rewarded in business. In business, you got to get creative. You got to solve problems. It's not a cookie cutter system. So for 14,000 hours, we were programmed to be mediocre. That's why you got to get trained, because in a sense, we've been tamed through that system. And in my opinion, this is just my opinion, it's even worse now than it was when we were kids. Okay. So you're not a 27%er. We talked about this, the 60%ers. Roller coaster ride. They're emotional. They lose motivation fast. They shrink. 60%ers shrink to their challenges and problems, meaning they're smaller than their problems. 60%ers tend to be interested in their goals rather than committed to their goals. 10%ers, let's talk about some attributes of 10%ers. They grow with their challenges and problems. Okay. They're not negatively affected by their environment, but rather they affect it. Work on themselves constantly. This is a personal development. They're not afraid of what others think of them. Okay. Like the quote says, a lion is not concerned by the opinions of sheep. Some people are not going to feel comfortable with you when they start to see like, hey, you don't value the same things that you used to value before. Like we used to hang out and play poker all the time with some friends. When I stopped showing up to play poker with my friends, guess what happened? They started talking about me. They started saying things like, JC thinks he's too good. Some of the guys would say, never to my face, but some of the guys would say, yeah, I don't know, man. JC thinks like his stuff don't stink. I won't say the word. Why? Because they would get together during the week to play poker till like 2, 3 in the morning. And I was like, I'm good, bro. I'm good. I got to work tomorrow. Can't be staying up that late, maybe on the weekend. And I'm not going to spend money I don't got. I'm just not going to do that. You know, they would want to go out on the weekend and party and stuff. And this is in my 20s, by the way. This is usually when people tend to do that stuff more, right? But I remember Giddy Mentor said, here's the deal. You've got to have the season of separation. You've got to separate from people that are not going in the same direction that you're going into, and you got to connect with people. So on Saturday mornings, I was on Saturday trainings, like almost every Saturday. So I couldn't stay up late the night before. I remember going a time on purpose, not dating girls, not dating at all. I was like obsessed with not being broke. That's when I became a 10%er. Then my results started to come in, and I started to become a leader, and eventually it took me a couple of years to become a 3%, right? So let's go to the next one. 3%ers are bigger than their challenges. Personal growth is a habit. This is just a normal thing for a 3%er. It's not like, oh, I just remembered I got to do some personal. No. It's like an automatic. They're not afraid about what other people think about them. Okay, they're not affected by their environment, but rather they affect their environment. The 3%ers have a certain thing about them that even if their environment is a different environment, they're certainly not affected by it, but they'll even affect the environment themselves. They will be the difference, and they are committed to their goals. They're not simply interested. What is the difference? Interested means I'm going to do it when it's convenient. Committed means I'm going to do it regardless. I got a certain amount of calls, certain amount of things on my to-do list that I got to get done before the day is over. I'm getting them done before the day is over. Does that mean that I do it all the time or that they do it all the time? No. But for the most part, yes. They're committed to it. They fill in the gaps, right? Like, for example, when was it? On Saturday, was a day I was taking off. But I did a training for a new group of 30 people for 2.5 hours. Then we take our kids somewhere. Then when we come back, Maximus goes to shower. The baby falls asleep. My wife is doing some laundry. I said, I got about a 30-minute gap here. So it's a family day, but I'm not doing anything. So what did I do? I got on my computer, started working on some stuff that I needed to get done, some proposals, right? I'm filling in the gaps. Maybe sometimes I'll do that with my workout. This applies to every aspect of my life. I'm talking about personally my situation. So here's where it starts, guys. This is one of the most important slides here. Where does it start? Everybody wants, okay, if we talk about material success, right? Here's what they want. They want a certain lifestyle. What are some of the things in your lifestyle that you want to have? What are some of the things that so Lewis says 10% looking forward to being a 3%. I would agree with that, Lewis. So what are some of the things in your lifestyle that you would like to change? Becoming a 10% or a 3%er. What are some of the things, material things, not only material things, but maybe time with your children or with your spouse that you would love to achieve by becoming successful in this business? I want you guys to put those things down in the chat. It could be a sentence. It could be a couple of words, right? Time freedom. It could be, new neighborhood, new car, whatever. Because here's where most people think it starts with their actions, what they're doing on a daily basis. And that's not where it starts. So the lifestyle, ultimately, the success leads to a certain lifestyle, right? So it goes like this. Philosophy is where it starts. Your philosophies shape your attitudes. Your attitudes shape your actions. Those actions shape your results, and your results ultimately create your lifestyle. Champions develop the habit of pre-playing their future success and wins, while the masses replay their past failures and losses and setbacks. What do I mean? Most people dwell too much on their losses. Man, you know what? It's because this happened to me, and because of this, and because of that, because of this person. No, listen. A champion has this philosophy. A 3%er has this philosophy. For example, the only time I mentioned about the time that I went broke, in 2019, I was broke. I borrowed money from my little brother, my friend Daniel Pacheco. Okay? Could not pay my bills. My wife had never worked since being with me. I sat her down on our couch in the living room when our son was asleep, because Alexander wasn't born yet. I said, I need to talk to you. So she was concerned. It is weird. I said, look, here's the situation that we're in. And I said, I'm going to need you to go to work again. It's tough right now. And I didn't even say go to work. I said, I'm going to need you to go and hit the doors again. Because she used to door knock home security. The year before, my net worth was over $1 million. I lost a lot of money in crypto. I invested like $250,000 into some mining. So crypto mining, that went south. I mean, it was bad. Like, my network marketing company got sold and our checks were cut. It was a lot. Like, in a 6-month period, a lot went down. The only time I talk about it is never to dwell on it. Is to teach a lesson. Is for productive reasons. I don't sit and dwell on all this, and I didn't sit and dwell. I got videos, and I will share with you guys. I'm going to try to find them between this week and next week. She goes door knocking, makes $8,000 her first month. After she makes 8,000, I'm like, man, there's some real money in this ADT stuff, huh? She's like, yes. I said, show me. Because right now I'm in between. I'm looking to get started in the solar industry, but I haven't found the right company yet. Show me. I want to go, because this is a way that we can make. She made 8,000 her first month. It hadn't gone door knocking in years. So I'm like, there's money in this deal. So in the meantime, this is a good way for me to make some money, get on our feet while I figure out how I'm going to launch my solar business. I didn't know Powur existed. I was going to start my own solar dealer, like a traditional dealer with a couple level overrides, and that's it. Okay. So she takes me, shows me a sale within the first hour. I'm like, how much you make on that deal? She said, I made about $500 on this deal. Dang, we've been out here for about an hour. You made $500? And we got the rest of the day. Man, so the next day I shadow her again and half day. And then the other half, I knocked my own and I didn't get a sale. That was a Friday. The next day, Saturday, we were supposed to go together, but we didn't have her mom or my mom to help us with our kids. And those are the only two people that watch our kids. So I said, you stay home, I'll go knock. She's like, you sure? I mean, you don't really know. I was like, it doesn't matter. I'll go and mess it up all day. It'll be a learning experience. I'll call you if I need you. I went out like 4 hours into it, get my first sale, made $500 on that deal. I'm thinking, I only work 4 hours. If I work 8 hours a day, I should at least get one sale per day. That means that I'm making about $2,500 a week. If I work 6 days, I'm making about $3,000 per week. And I see that she gets 2-3 sales a day sometimes. Man, in a month, I outsold everybody except for the owner of that company. Everybody, I smoked them, including her. It even caused a little bit of a competitiveness between my wife and I. And we got in a fight because she doesn't like how competitive I get. I said, come on, beat me. Beat me. I dare you to try to beat me, right? And I should have done that. But my point is this. A couple of months into it, I told her, you don't have to go to work no more. I got this. I figured out this ADD stuff. I figured out my schedule. I figured out my system. I was doing the new homeowner list. Then I found Powur. And with Powur, I remember before Powur, I was knocking on doors and I recorded myself like at 8 p.m. visiting new homeowners, and I record myself. I uploaded that video as an unlisted video to my YouTube channel. It's in my YouTube channel somewhere. And I said to myself, here I am on the doors. I haven't got a sale yet. It's already 8 p.m., but I got like X amount of doors to hit, a couple of other homeowners that I got to visit. And it doesn't matter if I don't end up with a sale. I've been out here all day, but I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do. And I'm documenting this because there will come a day, the day already exists in the future, the day already exists, that I've got my successful business and I'm back on my feet like I used to be. Because making money is like riding a bike. Once you know how to ride a bike, you could ride a bike. You haven't rode a bike in years. You could ride it again. And I truly believe that. And that was when I was down and out, broke, busting, disgusted, before I had really figured out the ADT stuff. That makes sense? This is like in the early stages. Shortly after that, I get started with solar, and then the rest is history, right? You guys heard that story, that part of the story. My point is this. Champions develop the habit of pre-playing their future success and wins while everybody else replays their past failures and losses. I'm only mentioning the failures and losses to inspire somebody, to teach a lesson, not to dwell. I never ask somebody, come and sit down, man, let me tell you about my problems, man, it sucks, you know, I had this, I had that, and now I don't got anything, and I'm so freaking never. Because how's that going to get me closer to getting on my feet? It's not. Because I believe, I know the actuality of the truth, which is what? That I am a winner. That there's a song that I'm going to put in the chat. It's badass. I recommend, and I dedicated this song. It's a country song. I dedicated it to my wife. And I told her, this is who I am. And I'm going to put it in the chat here. And I'm going to share it with you guys. I can't find it right now, but I'm going to share it. But the point is this. I remember thinking to myself for a long time, I am a winner. I am a survivor. I'm a fighter. I figure things out, right? I pre-play my future success and wins. And this is also, it comes into the creative process, the manifestation, right? When you think of the things that you want to achieve, the person that you want to become, and it becomes a burning desire for its achievement, you feel the feelings of having it. Now we're getting into the law of attraction, which I'm not going to get into, but it also plays into that. So start thinking about what you're thinking about, because most people's self-talk is negative. So we're gonna keep going. Okay. Here's a couple of successful people philosophies. My comfort zone is my broke zone. I don't like to be in my comfort zone. You shouldn't want to be in your comfort zone, because your comfort zone is your broke zone. If you want to be broke, if you are broke, I'm not saying anybody here is, but if you are broke and you want to stay broke, stay in your comfort zone. In order to succeed, I must double my rate of failure. One of the founders of, I think it was not Microsoft. I forgot. One of the founders of one of these old computer companies said that in order to succeed, you must double your rate of failure. You either win or you learn. There's no win or lose. I win some, I learn some. That is a martial arts philosophy. I win some, I learn some. Okay. Successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. See, these are not just quotes, these are philosophies. Are you the kind of person that does the things that unsuccessful people are not willing to do? Are unsuccessful people, let me ask you this question, are unsuccessful people making a lot of excuses? Yes, so don't make them. Are unsuccessful people skipping prospecting daily? Yes, they are. Don't do that. It's not that damn hard. Look at what unsuccessful people do and do the opposite. They're not going to prospect consistently. Therefore, I will go prospect consistently. They're constantly dwelling and talking about negativity. I'm going to not dwell, not talk about positivity. Matter of fact, I'm going to talk about positive stuff. They're constantly thinking negative. I'm going to think positive. The dictionary is the only place where success comes before work, and I get paid based on the size of the problems that I solve. I get paid based on the size of the problems that I solve. Okay, so let's keep going. Here's some unsuccessful people's philosophies. I'd rather be happy than rich. Thank God it's Friday. Money's the root of all evil. That's not true. The love of money is the root of all evil. Money itself is neutral. Okay? These people would rather entertain themselves instead of educate themselves. They have a big screen TV instead of a big library. They focus more on entertaining themselves instead of studying, right? I have to see in order to believe. How many of you guys have heard that before? I have to see in order to believe. That is a broke person's philosophy. The opposite is true for a 3%er. You know what that is? I have to first believe in order to see. I have to believe I'm a six-figure, multiple six-figure, or seven-figure earner in order for that to become the reality. I have to believe that it's possible. That is one of the worst ones. I have to see in order to believe. That is so stupid. Average Joes say that stuff. Okay, and they have a victim mentality. Victims blame, complain, and justify. So I'm going to go one more slide. No, that's it. We're going to leave it here because the other one's going to take way too long. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I've got to get going to my office meeting. So I want to start this off finish this off right now. By the way, Mentor Factory 2023 is already up, mentorfactory2023.com. You guys can go there and get the replay for that one. George, we're going to go ahead and get you that this week. I know that yours is pending. So you got Mentor Factory 2022, 2021. I break into, thank you, Isabel. I break into, on the Mentor Factory, I break down this long format. I go for like an hour and a half on the Bulletproof mindset. There's so much to cover. There's no way we could cover it in 40 minutes. There's like, I could go on a 3-hour training. There's so many slides for the Bulletproof mindset, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed it. This recording is available. I recommend watch the recording a second time. If you saw value in it, watch it a second time and learn it. There is something very real about growing as a person, as an entrepreneur, as a sales professional, as a professional in general, right? And personal development is one of the things that is very often overlooked. You look, it's a mindset. I think that the mindset is a solid foundation. On top of the foundation, you stack your follow-up skills, your sales skills, your presenting skills, all that stuff. But none of those skills matter if your foundation is weak. If you have a weak foundation, which is the mindset, the skills are irrelevant. I've met people that are talented presenters, talented recruiters, talented salespeople, but they have a weak mindset. Any little thing gets them down. So therefore, they have a lot of starts and stops. You cannot be successful with a lot of starts and stops. You gotta be consistent. Don't get off the elevator. A lot of people, let's say you got an elevator, 10 floors. First floor is 100,000, 200,000, $1 million is the 10th floor. Some people get off in the middle of the first floor, before the first floor. Some people get to the first floor, they're off, 100 grand, boom, they're off. So they stop doing the personal development. They stop. Here's one thing that happens. I'll leave you guys with this. When people hit a certain threshold of money, like more than they've made in their traditional career, let's say they've made 70 grand a year in their job and they get to 100,000 with solar, with their new business. their mind tricks them. Their mind tricks us, all of us. This has happened to me too. Says, what do you got to get on training for? You're making 8 grand, 10 grand a month, bro. You don't got to get on the train, man. You got stuff to do. You're making 100,000. Whether it's conscious or subconscious, your mind plays tricks on you. Then you got off the elevator at level 1. You should have kept on the elevator. Keep going. Keep going. Keep reading the books. Keep working on yourself. Keep doing the personal development to continue to do not get off the elevator. Stop doing the things that got you to the desk. Anyways, hope you guys got value from this training. I appreciate all of you guys. The recording will be up on YouTube in about an hour or 2 at most. With that being said, guys, those of you locals, I'll see you guys at the office. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.